whether it's trying to get a reaction from one side to the other, delaying the timing, or whether it's a look that is different than something you thought was coming. Here are 10 of my favorite feints that I like to use in sparring.
Perfect.
In the past, we talked about yin and yang with combinations. Now we're going to talk about it with feints, okay? If I'm always trying to hit, then I'm always going to get the same reaction out of you every time. But once I try and not hit you, I'm going to get a different reaction. That different reaction is what makes the feint so important, because I can get that reaction, I can understand what you're doing, and then I can land. The first feint that we're going to talk about is literally just a schoolyard bully head movement. Okay, so usually as I'm fighting or I'm sparring with somebody, you should be looking dead center of the chest, right at about the solar plexus, because you can use your peripherals to see everything else. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on that by being here and just giving a little head movement forwards. It looks like I'm coming in, especially if it's somebody who's like constantly looking at your head. You can be here moving around and give them like the schoolyard bully, okay? And you can follow this up, bang, by throwing the hands usually, okay? Number 2, we're just gonna bend the knee. Boop. Something really slight, okay? And what bending the knee does, it elicits the reaction that movement is coming, okay? I'm trying to get you to think that I'm moving. Because all movement starts from the bending of the knee, okay? So by being straight and then bending the knee, not necessarily changing level, but just bending this knee, pointing it out.
I want you to bend the knee.
Okay, so the next one's gonna be covering the eyes. What happens when I cover your eyes is you immediately want that vision back. So you're gonna be able to do something else. Now, is this a feint or is this a tactic? It could go either way, but by fighting here and me covering the eyes, I'm not trying to strike here, so I'm gonna call it a feint. And what's gonna happen is if I try and cover your eyes, you're gonna wanna get those hands out of the way so you'll have your own reaction, which I can work on later. Okay, so earlier we talked about how you can bend your knee to get that different reaction. Now we're going to change levels, okay? I like to think about this one as me trying to fake like I'm gonna land a jab to the body. Okay, now instead of just bending the knee, I'm also gonna take a small step forwards and drop my hips down. Bend both knees. Now this can look like I'm going for a takedown, but the main thing is I just wanna make them think that I'm going lower than my intentions. Okay, now for some kick feintery, I'm just gonna pick up this leg. Okay, it could look like it's supposed to be a check. It could look like it's supposed to be a kick. I like to add a little pull here. So I'm changing direction at them too. I'm getting a little momentum going their way. Earlier we talked about covering up the vision. Now I'm just gonna feint a jab, and I'm just gonna pull my hand up, boxing style, here. And what's gonna happen is they're gonna see that shoulder and that arm move. They're going to usually expect jab. Okay, play with this one and get used to it and see, because being here is a lot easier than being out here. It's a lot easier to keep your movement when my arm hasn't moved at all. I just lifted the shoulder. Also, this is a feint that you can do while also still protecting yourself. This one's gonna be a little more exaggerated. I'm literally gonna push my shoulder at my opponent. Okay? Working on, boom, giving this, because like I mentioned, they're usually looking at your solar plexus. By giving that peripheral something they see that's an indicator of throwing a punch, throwing that shoulder, pushing that shoulder at them, giving that turn could be just enough for them to really wanna bite down and block something or parry something, which is even better. This one's pretty similar. It's kind of like a, right? So what I'm doing is as I'm throwing these punches here, which is sort of like the bully with the, but now I'm gonna be pulling my chest back. I'm not really altering much, just, again, I'm working on making them think that I'm getting closer to them. By pulling my shoulders back, I'm staying in the same spot. I might be moving a little bit. By pulling my chest a little bit bigger, with the right timing, it'll make them think that you're coming closer, even if it's just a touch, even if it's for a millisecond. Just like I can push my shoulders one forward to the other, I can do the same thing with my hip. This one I like to think about like Muay Thai fighters especially. Pushing this hip forwards and really making it look like I'm about to throw this hip at them. I'm not quite bending the knee. I'm not trying to throw my knee at them, which looks a little bit more like a Taekwondo thing. Throwing that knee at them, I'm trying to push my hip at them. My body leans backwards a little bit. Usually looks a little bit more like a roundhouse kick, rather than the knee coming up, which looks like a front kick. And lastly, my favorite one is the fake spin. Fake spin's an interesting one. I'm already sideways. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this back shoulder, that much. That's it. I'm gonna turn this foot a little bit, like this, and you're immediately thinking I'm gonna spin. And what's really cool about this one is you can fake it and then come back with a back fist, or you can fake it and then go side kick. Pretty much what I wanna do is I wanna do something with this lead hand. I'm gonna fake it first by going here, pulling this elbow back. I wanna give them something visual that they can see that reinforces the idea that I'm spinning. Right, turning the head, keeping the eyes here the whole time. Even if I look away, I'm trying to come right back immediately to my target with this eyesight. So keep in mind that whenever you have a good feint, you have to have a worrisome attack that is the reason they are falling for the feint. I can't just feint like a big overhand all the time when I never land an overhand. On earlier on fighters, you might get some reaction by just like throwing anything, but once people start to get better, they'll notice that they're not going to be worried about something they shouldn't be worried about. Feints for jabs are great because jabs are really easy to throw. You can switch stuff up with the jabs and have a feint or have a reaction. And I don't really have to change much because my jab's a really easy strike to throw consumption-wise. Like I'm not really putting a lot into my body to throw a quick jab or pop one out. And they can be disguised in a lot of different ways. Bonus content. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give you some of my 3 favorite combinations of these different movements. So we've got our raise here. What I like to do is I like to go raise, and then I like to push this shoulder forwards and then come hook around the outside. So I go raise it up, boom, push the shoulder. So first you thought jab, and then that goes away. And then you're thinking, oh, cross, and then I like to come in and go, boom. So I go, okay, so that's my first one. The second one is I like to do the head nod, the schoolyard bully, and then I push this back hip. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go, and then after that, I'll throw just a jab. Okay, so push, and then this goes here because it follows a natural sequence of events. And then I can go pop because I'm ready like this. Boom. The last one's not really a combination, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go like this, boom, and I'm gonna bend this back knee, and then I'm gonna step out, bang, and go front leg roundhouse kick. So I go, boom, bang. So one more time, I'm going fast. What happens is, as soon as they see this, they're going to sit down on it like to check it outside. And I switch and go inside leg. So if you like this, make sure you turn on the notifications. If you go over here, under the suggested videos, it'll say from Sensei Seth, this option over here. You can then scroll all the way down and see which videos of mine you want to watch next. You guys know the deal. If you don't want to subscribe, I will kick you.
Legit real food ingredients, like non preservatives, it's like fresh made. It's all real. It's real food packaged for the fast food consumer.
And you watch them make it too.
What you? Whoa!